How to write? This question naturally arises whenever we are trying to write something, and it's a common question. This video is going to give you a three-step method that can unlock some obstacles so you can start writing better. Okay, let's begin. So there's a three-step writing method that I propose that can help you just learn how to write. It can be helpful to think that we have to go back to the fundamentals, that there are some fundamental problems that have been blocking us in creating, in offering words onto the page. The first step in how to write is to first see something clearly. We have to see something. By seeing something is meant really understanding in your mind's vision what it is you're working with, to have a perception into some truth, to see it with your mind. You have to reflect, you have to study and ponder, and you have to put your heart into it. Your intelligence emerges from the deepest portions of your psychology, from your heart, basically, from the deepest parts of your being. And so, in order to write effectively, you have to put your heart into the process and you have to put energy into it. And for this, time is required. Sometimes in institutional contexts, there's an expectation that students will pick up a thesis quickly on the outset. But this may begin from the false assumption that students are to receive a thesis instead of independently discovering their own insight, which then becomes what is called the thesis. In fact, it takes a lot of time and energy to discover such a deep insight that would become the thesis or the central insight. In addition, maybe an essay naturally develops so that you write in a progressive manner and then discover the main insight at the end. And so, therefore, in order to write well, you should start early whenever you have a writing project. This is because you have to put energy into the process in order to see the truths that you need to see, in order to see something. It's not like you have to see a particular thing, but you have to have a particular vision, an apperception, a sight, in order to then have that independent place from which you can write. Finally, with this step of seeing something clearly, you should be at peace with your sight. Whatever you see, be at peace with it. Don't think that, oh, I should have seen something else, or this is not acceptable to see it, or this is not a correct perception. Trust what you see. The next step after you see something clearly is to communicate what you see. Maybe speak it first. Speech is a natural process. This is about communicating what you have seen in your inner vision. Remember, writing is a natural process. You're communicating, you're sharing to other people. You can remember that in a community, individuals within the community naturally communicate with each other. This is the interaction of multiple parts within a group. Writing is a participation in this. You're just communicating to others what you have seen. That's the essence of writing. Below the kind of constraints and constrictions about we have to write in this way or it has to be in this format. Writing is an act of the soul. It's an act of vitality where you're communicating to others truths, deep truths that you have seen for the upliftment of the community, and you also participate in that upliftment because when you help others, you are also uplifted. That's what writing is. And naturally write what you see in this act of communication. The key is naturally. You have to naturally write what you see. Possibly, you may have to force yourself to write naturally. Often, many feel forced into constrictions in form and structures when they write, and so a paradox arises. You have to force yourself to be in a no-force state because now you're unnaturally forced to write according to disordered expectations and constrictions. And so you might have to force yourself just to write naturally. That means, more essentially, to make the intention, the determination just to write what you see, to communicate that naturally. Notice that there might be a blockage, an inhibition, a feeling of, no, you can't do that when you have the intention in the beginning just to write what you see. But you have to get past that. And so you may have to just force yourself to get past that. And then paradoxically, you're entering into a more natural state because we don't see the way in which we've been forced into constrictions and structures and forms that do not allow us to communicate naturally. In this way, for this second step of communicating what you see, I recommend a free writing method to begin with. So you just write, you communicate in a free way. You have to get the ideas that you see onto the page, and there shouldn't be restrictions about how you write those ideas. Just express them in the way that you do onto the page. And so a free writing method is very helpful here, perhaps even necessary to do this. This is part of the reason why you need time and energy in the writing process. Because if you are going to free write the thoughts when you first communicate them, when you first express them, then there will also be a stage where then you have to update the format to whatever the situation you are in requires. And now we go to the third step in the writing process, changing the format for the situation. So where are we now? You've seen something, you've communicated it naturally in a free writing method, and now you have the substances, you have the ideas. Now you should change the format into what is appropriate for your situation. So if you're writing in a particular essay format, you can change your free writing substance into that format. If you're in a different context, a work context, an academic context, or any kind of situation, you can then take the time to update the format of what you've written into what is appropriate for the context or situation that you are in. At this point, working with the format can now be enjoyable since you already have the substance from the free writing process. And so that's the method. 3 steps. First, see something clearly. Second, communicate naturally what you see in a free writing method. Third, update the format according to what the situation requires. Now, this method can help you have more confidence in your writing process because you're going back to the fundamentals. You're seeing how writing is an expression of humanity. It's an expression of the deepest life of a person. And in this method, the ideas can flow naturally, and the prioritization is on the substance and the ideas. And we distinguish between the substance and the ideas and the formatting, understanding that seeing something clearly and authentically communicating that in your own natural way is the most important part. If you'd like to consult my services for your own writing practice, you are welcome to do so, and I invite you to look at my website below, Claystone Studies Writing Academy, for more information. Good luck with your writing. Take care.